striker, and Tottenham also made contact with PSG to understand the conditions of the deal. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here, as always, to keep you posted on the transfer market. Today, guys, many things to mention. We will go from Jonathan David to Joshua Zirkzee, Kolo, Muani, Manchester United, Chelsea, something to say. Dani Olmo, let's jump into it together. And so guys, let me start today's video by mentioning one of the names we will hear several times in 2025, Jonathan David. Today, new reports coming from England about Premier League clubs approaching Jonathan David for the January transfer window. Guys, the understanding I have in this moment on Jonathan David is that for sure Jonathan David is going to be a name we will mention this year several times because he's out of contract at Lille. The understanding is that Jonathan David will not sign a new deal at Lille, so he's likely to leave as a free agent, but that's the point, free agent, so summer 2025. At the moment, the feeling is that nothing is happening in the January transfer window. Jonathan David is expected to complete the season at Lille and then at the end of the season pick his favorite option. He has possibilities in Premier League, he has possibilities in Italy, in several countries. Obviously, after his performances at Lille, several clubs are attentive to the situation, but at the moment I can guarantee that despite the reports, nothing is close, nothing is advanced with Premier League clubs, and especially not for January. The idea is to move in the summer transfer window. So that's the feeling. We will follow the situation. Let's see if maybe some club will decide to do something crazy in January. We never know, but at the moment I can confirm once again the idea of Jonathan David is to leave in the summer transfer window, and we will follow that situation for sure. About strikers, guys, we know at Manchester United there is an interesting situation with Marcus Rashford. We will mention that in the next days as soon as the situation is more clear, but the possibility of Marcus Rashford leaving Manchester United in January remains really strong, really concrete, as we know, also based on the opportunities they will receive in terms of proposals in the January transfer window. Joshua Zirkzee, many questions. Yesterday after the game, Ruben Amorim, after the draw against Liverpool at Anfield, said, I want to keep Joshua Zirkzee. He's working really hard, he's giving his best in training, but he also added the January transfer window is open, so we will see. Why he says that? Because Juventus are really pushing for Joshua Zirkzee. Juventus have a very good relationship. The director, Cristiano Giuntoli, and the agent of Joshua Zirkzee, Kia Joorabchian, have an excellent relationship. They did a deal, for example, for Douglas Luiz in the summer transfer window together. So Juventus are really interested in Joshua Zirkzee. The manager is Thiago Motta, and Thiago Motta was the coach at Bologna last season. They did an excellent job together, Thiago Motta and Joshua Zirkzee. So the interest of Juventus is really concrete, and contacts with the player side already started weeks ago. So Juventus are on it, but it will really depend on the formula of the deal. At the moment, Manchester United are not accepting a straight loan for Joshua Zirkzee. So let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what Juventus can do in terms of obligation to buy, permanent transfer, loan with option to buy that could become obligation. So there are details of this story to clarify, for sure. But the idea, the view of Juventus is that Joshua Zirkzee is one of the main targets for January. It will really depend on Man United, because at the moment, from Manchester United, they are not accepting what Juventus are proposing. Then it's important to mention that on Juventus list there is another name who is also on the list of other clubs around Europe, and is Randal Kolo Muani. You probably remember, guys, that a few weeks ago I told you about Kolo Muani to be one of the names for the January transfer window for sure. He's leaving Paris Saint-Germain. There is interest from several clubs around Europe. These clubs can be Juventus, because if Zirkzee is not going anywhere, Kolo Muani could be an option for Juve. Also, Tottenham are looking for a striker, and Tottenham also made contact with PSG to understand the conditions of the deal for Kolo Muani. And then keep an eye also on Aston Villa, because Aston Villa are also monitoring strikers. The priority target is Dani Olmo at Borussia Dortmund. Aston Villa are working on it, but they are among several clubs calling to understand the situation of Kolo Muani. So the expectation remains for Kolo Muani to leave Paris Saint-Germain in January, and Kolo Muani to be one of the names to follow for the January transfer window for sure. That's the idea, that's the view. He's gonna leave, and so let's see with Juventus, with Tottenham, what's gonna happen. Again, for Juventus, keep an eye also on Joshua Zirkzee, because it will really depend on what Manchester United want to do. Then, guys, Chelsea, because Chelsea, with the injury of Wesley Fofana, who hopes to return mid-end of March, that's the feeling of the player, but we have to see on the medical point of view how the recovery is going to develop in the next weeks. It's important to say that Chelsea are seriously considering to bring in a new centre-back in the January transfer window. It's a strong possibility. So Chelsea, despite some of the initial reports we saw, Chelsea have a recall clause into the contract with Trevoh Chalobah. So the clause is there. Chelsea are considering this possibility. But another player they like is Marc Guehi at Crystal Palace. He's a centre-back that Chelsea appreciate. So let's see what's going to happen there. Let's see if Chelsea will make a bid. At the moment, we are not in club-to-club negotiations. But in terms of interest, Chelsea like Marc Guehi. Then we have to see if Chelsea want to invest on the centre-back in January, or if Chelsea want to do something more low-profile, like recalling Trevoh Chalobah or doing these kind of things. But remember that Chalobah could be a point of contact between Chelsea and Crystal Palace in case Chelsea decide to attack for Marc Guehi. At the moment, again, we are not yet into advanced negotiations, concrete negotiations, but in terms of exploring options for the centre-back position, what I'm told is that Chelsea consider Marc Guehi as one of the most interesting options around. Then it's going to be also about the budget. There are more options for sure. He's not the only one, so I'm not saying that he's going to Chelsea, but I'm saying that he's one of the names being considered for sure at the club. And so it's going to be an interesting situation to follow the centre-back for Chelsea. And not only, because I think Chelsea could do also something else on the market based on outgoings. Remember what I told you on Christopher Nkunku a few days ago. The situation of Christopher Nkunku could be one to watch because Chelsea want to keep Nkunku. But if Nkunku, or his agent of course, will go to Chelsea and say, let me go, let me leave, I want to play more, Chelsea could be open to letting him leave in the January transfer window based on what the player wants to do. But Chelsea want to keep Nkunku, so it really depends on the player now. And then, guys, it's important to mention Dani Olmo, the case of the month, because he's still not registered. We know Barcelona will go to court to try find a solution for Dani Olmo and the young talented striker Pau Victor. Meanwhile, Dani Olmo is traveling with Barcelona squad to Saudi for the Spanish Super Cup. Why is this happening? Because Dani Olmo remains convinced that Barcelona will find a way. Dani Olmo, his agent, are waiting for Barcelona. So Dani Olmo is showing once again his commitment to Barca, not taking the clause to be a free agent, not negotiating with any other club, and waiting for Barcelona to find a way as soon as possible. Obviously now the next days will be crucial. Dani Olmo can't wait forever, but Dani Olmo's intention is to wait for it. That's the idea, that's the option, that's what I'm hearing. So Dani Olmo is gonna wait for Barcelona as long as possible, and is still, as of today, not negotiating with any other club, traveling with the squad and waiting to see what's gonna be the solution of this story. And so, guys, let me know your thoughts on all these stories. Jonathan David, Marc Guehi, Zirkzee, Kolo, Muani, Dani Olmo. Guys, I wait for your opinion here in the comments. Remember to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. See you soon. Ciao.